municipal government expenditures and revenues. Well, not only municipal governments, but also all levels of government. What emerged from our research, from our exploratory research, is that the OAG is not really consistent with their accounting and auditing procedures. Some of the mayors and deputy mayors mentioned that in some provinces and some municipalities, a certain expenditure item was declared legal by the OAG, but not so in the other areas. So this kind of inconsistency by the OAG discourages municipalities from actively pursuing their capital investment projects, because at the end of the day, who knows, if I were the mayor and came up with certain capital projects and which were not approved by the OAG, then I would be in jail tomorrow, something like that. Then who wants to invest, right? So to wrap up our exploratory research, in hindsight, as I emphasized, central government agencies in Thailand have not been really effective in teaching the local governments if they want to teach, but they are not really effective in teaching local governments all the necessary tools and skills to manage their own local jurisdictions. Now, the more important take-home point that I want to make is not only for Thailand, but for other countries, for other developing countries as well, including Nepal, as one of our colleagues is from. We talk so much about not wanting to transfer powers to the local jurisdictions in developing countries because we are afraid of corruption, bad politicians, bad governance practices. We do not focus so much on the bad governance practices brought about by the central government agencies. Now, there's research in economics about economic reforms in China and Russia, a comparative study. And the conclusion of that research is that local governments cannot be transparent and effective without strong, transparent center. And in Thailand, we talk so much about reforming local government, teaching them all the good governance stuff. But what about central government agencies? And most political science researchers in Thailand talk about how bad the central governments are. But when we switch the topic to local government, they said, oh, local governments are also bad. Central government, you have to teach them how to run their own jurisdictions. This contradiction dominates Thai academic talk on local government reform. And we hope that our research is just an exploratory research. We hope to expand our research to get more grants to do our research. We hope that this is a jump start for serious research on central-local relations. Because any study about local government must be two-sided. It can't be just one-sided. Thank you.
Any question or suggestion?
Morning. My name is Thanapan Lepakopsa from National Institute of Development and Administration. When you mentioned about the best strategy of Thai municipality leaders to get more revenues or expenditure from central government is to hire the best lobbyists. Are you implying that they are likely to be similar to what local leader at the U.S. context? If different, what is the difference?
The difference, and I don't think I have a well-researched answer to your question, but based on my experience working with local governments in Illinois, the difference between Thai local politics and American local politics is that in America, especially in Illinois, yes, they use lobbyists in Congress and also, sadly, in the state capitol. But I don't recall any incidents in which the relatives, husbands or wives of state congressmen getting elected to the U.S., to the federal government, and then collide or collaborate with each other to bring pork projects to their towns or cities. In Thailand, there has been a very interesting phenomenon, for those who are not familiar with Thailand, that now, if you examine the list of MPs and senators and president of the provincial administrative organizations, or even in my home province, all of them are relatives, close relatives, husbands, wives, sons, daughters. It's like a family business. So much fun in the local politics and national politics. I don't see that in the U.S.
Any more questions? If you have time. Yes, please.
Thank you very much. My name is Michael Sinclair. I'm from Toronto, Canada. I have what is mainly a question of information, a clarification in regard to the authority and the modalities of responsibility for funding for capital improvements, for physical infrastructure and related kinds of things. I wanted to ask this question of the first speaker as well, so if he could take that on board and we can talk later. I gather from the abstract of your paper that the authority for funding for capital development projects rests solely with central government. Now, assuming that that is the case, if it is not the case, please clarify, but assuming that that is the case, is some of that funding available through debt financing? And if so, where can the loans be sought? Can some of them come, for example, from the central bank rather than from the private banks, which charge a much higher interest than the central bank would have to charge? So the question concerns responsibility, authority, modality for capital improvement, and specifically if some of that can be done through debt financing. Thank you.
Sir, Professor Sinclair, in Thailand, the Department of Local Administration has one of its regulations is that local governments can seek debt financing from private entities only with the approval of the department, with the approval of the Ministry of Interior. And actually, there was an example back in, I think last year, in Nakhon Phanom province, where former TAO mayor borrow money from a private bank without seeking the approval of the Department of Local Administration. But now that TAO became a municipality, and the Department of Local Administration found that out and said, well, the municipality is not to be responsible for that debt. The mayor has to be responsible for that debt. So the Department of Local Administration has that much power, you know, in regulating the use of debt financing in Thailand for local governments. Did I answer your question? Partly. Okay. That's good enough for me.
Okay, we still have time for one more question. Any more suggestions? Yes, please.
I am Adachi from Japan Council of Local Authority. Thank you for a very impressive lecture. And I'd like to ask you that what is the most relevant, effective ways of reforming of this central and local government structure? As you suggested, I think it's deeply concerned with the social structure of Thailand. So it's very difficult to change this situation. But what do you think about the most needed, most effective ways to change this structure?
Okay, I'll give that a shot. And if I just answer your question partly again, my deepest apology. Since you brought up the issue of culture, although not directly, it's Thai culture. I think we have to separate between administrative culture and social culture. Now, I don't think that Thais are intrinsically passive about governing themselves. No one in this world is passive about governing him or herself. The problem in Thailand is, and based on our research, interview research, and I didn't put this on the PowerPoint slide, community leaders actually were really excited about the opportunity brought about by the Constitution in 1997 about being able to participate more actively in politics. But 2-3 years after that, they quit joining the participation process. Why? Well, some of them complained that we proposed so many things and at the end the EOI said no. So what's the point of going to meetings after meetings, risking their businesses, and getting nothing from the central government, who is supervising the decentralization process? So people are ready to govern themselves. They need inspiration and encouragement and necessary training from the central government, which are not really present right now in Thailand. So partly answer your question.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ashakon and Dr. Kashalam. Let me try to make a brief summary of this presentation. Okay, the focus of this presentation is on the limit capability in planning and budgeting in capital improvement of the Thai municipalities. And they found that the main limitation seem to result from too much government control, central government control. This is on the nature of the Thai intergovernment relation system. It tends to be very centralized. So we have a very centralized system. And this centralization also tend to make capital investment projects tend to be involve politics and lobbying. So the local government have to try to negotiate with the central government. So the one with more connection with the central government tend to get more projects. Okay, so the recommendation is for Thailand to be more transparency at the central government as well. Not only ask the local government to be more transparency, but we have to ask the central government as well, right? Thank you very much. Okay, good presentation. Let's go to the third presentation. Okay, from Professor Akio.